It's 6:00 p.m. We are meeting tonight in the boardroom at 1400 Montecito Avenue, Mountain View, California. This meeting is being broadcast live on YouTube, Zoom, and on MVWSD.org and is being recorded. I will now perform the roll call of the board. I'll call
Bill Lambert.
Trustee Conley.
Present.
Trustee Reed.
Present.
Vice President Henry.
Present.
Charles DeFazio present. All members are present and a quorum is established. Now we'll move on to the pledge. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Now, before we proceed with the agenda, I wish to remind all attendees that the board welcomes and encourages public participation. We ask that all speakers adhere to the decorum and time limits established by Board Bylaw 9323. I will allocate time during each item for public comments as we see how many speakers we have. Now, next item of business is the approval of the meeting agenda. Are there any item or requests from the superintendent or board members to pull items, reorder items, or move items from the discussion and action agenda to the consent agenda? All right. Now I'll take public comment on the approval of the agenda. If any members of the public in person wish to address the board regarding this item, please turn in a speaker card. If you're online, please use the raise hand function. I'll wait to see how many speakers we have and allocate time accordingly. Seeing one member of the public in person wishing to speak, I'll allocate 3 minutes. First up is Stephen Nelson. Let me begin.
Yep, the one and only. I'd like you to please remove item 9C, the coast-to-coast trip for a trustee and/or administrator. The reason is I don't think this community at all supports this idea of how you should spend money from the general fund. The previous board made this kind of error. I think you can not make this kind of error again by just taking it off your agenda. I know this is something that Trustee Conley has twice talked about on 2 different meetings that she wanted to go to, and she wanted to have it paid for by the district. But I think that's not a wise use of money from the general fund, as we've seen from the study report that was talked about earlier this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda for discussion?
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Right. Well, on a motion by Trustee Lambert, seconded by Trustee Conley, have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right. The motion passes unanimously with Trustees Lambert, Conley, Reed, Henry, and DeFazio in favor. We now move on to item 2 of our agenda, the school showcase. Tonight we're very pleased to feature the preschool program. I'll call on Superintendent Baer to introduce the presentation.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. I want to welcome Terry Kemper, our Director of MVWSD Preschool Program. Welcome, Terry. Happy to hear from you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Terry Kemper, Director of the Preschool Program, and tonight I'm pleased and honored to be here with members of my team to showcase our district's preschool program. Thank you. Next slide, please. Our district has a very long history of commitment to the youngest learners in our community. Many people may not realize that we've been providing preschool services through a contract with the California Department of Education since the 1980s. Cost, language, proximity, and support for children with disabilities are just a few of the hurdles that many families face when seeking early learning and care for their 3 and 4-year-olds. Private preschool is simply not an option for many people, particularly for the families in our program. California State Preschool is designed to increase equity and access to high-quality early education to boost academic and social skills for students who would benefit most from the experience. Our program takes a whole child approach by providing art, sports, and science enrichment classes, health and developmental screenings, inclusive classrooms for children with special needs, parenting classes, and community resource and referral, in addition to academic and social emotional learning. We've been recognized for our work with consistent QRIS ratings at the highest tier since the system's implementation in 2012 as a statewide initiative, and we've received a California School Board Bell Award and recognition from the Santa Clara County Office of Education for high quality inclusion. Tonight, I'll be highlighting some of our preschool's health and wellness services, enrichment, and family engagement activities, all of which are funded through collaborative partnerships with other agencies in our county or with preschool-specific funds like our annual QRIS Block Grant Award and our state preschool contract. Next, please. At preschool, well-being begins with clear and consistent behavior expectations, routines, and instruction to help children identify and self-regulate their emotions. This is particularly important for children who have no experience in a classroom environment. Since most of our students are not yet reading, every facet of our instruction incorporates visual supports. The children on the left are discussing their classroom visual schedule, which includes pictures of students engaged in daily activities. And on the right, children are starting their school day by placing their names on charts to indicate how they're feeling in that moment. Staff can use these opportunities to talk to children about why they're feeling the way they do and strategies they can use to reset if they're feeling sad or angry, or how to calm themselves if they're feeling overly excited or anxious. Next slide. Practicing waiting, sharing, taking turns, and following classroom routines are everyday experiences at preschool. Classroom staff initially provide students with tools and facilitation until they're able to manage these experiences effectively on their own. The students pictured here are using visual supports that give them options for peaceful conflict resolution with peers and using a timer to indicate when to expect the next transition. The child on the far right is responsible for walking around the classroom with a sign showing that there's 4 minutes left until cleanup time. To ensure thoughtful and consistent implementation of these proactive, positive behavior support strategies, all of our teachers and instructional assistants participate in a 4-day California Teaching Pyramid training when they're hired and receive ongoing follow-up training and weekly coaching. Next slide. In a world where technology beckons us to spend more time indoors, it's important to ensure plenty of opportunities for children to connect with nature. In addition to getting more exercise, cited research and recommendations from organizations like the Child Mind Institute and the American Academy of Pediatrics remind us that kids who play outside are happier, better at paying attention, less anxious, and generally more resilient than children who spend more time indoors. Spending time interacting with nature also helps us to meet some of the California Department of Education's preschool transitional kindergarten learning foundation standards in science in areas such as observation and investigation and understanding the properties and characteristics of living things. Next slide. Children also learn responsibility and build community through caring for living things in their outdoor classrooms. While our outdoor space is limited, we make the most of it by finding creative ways to spark curiosity and encourage exploration of the natural world. Next slide. Physical wellness is also a critical component of learning. Each year, we collaborate with the Healthier Kids Foundation to provide free on-site dental, hearing, and vision screenings. The Healthier Kids Foundation includes age-appropriate lessons on dental hygiene and sends students home with dental care goodie bags. The Healthier Kids Foundation helps us to follow up with parents of children who need further evaluation and connect families with the appropriate medical professionals. These screenings are critical in revealing undiagnosed issues that can negatively impact student learning. Next slide. In addition to instruction around academic essentials like language, literacy, and math, our preschool staff provides daily activities for students to engage in music and movement and open-ended art where the focus is on the process and not the product. These activities promote the development of essential motor and perceptual skills and provide a creative outlet. The Community School of Music and Arts has been a longstanding partner in this effort, teaching enrichment classes for our students for nearly 20 years. In addition to CSMA, this year, we are beyond thrilled to welcome Ms. Yulia to our preschools team. With input from parents and staff, we decided to use our Prop 28 funds to provide dance classes. Ms. Yulia visits all of our general and special education preschool classrooms once a week to get our students up and moving, learning about rhythm and beat and creative expression. Her positive energy and ability to engage every student and adult in the room is phenomenal. Another one of our valued community partnerships is with the folks at Schmall Science. They facilitate preschool appropriate science workshops. Our students learn about engineering concepts with Kepler blocks, attraction and repulsion by experimenting with magnets. Next slide. And density and buoyancy during sink and float lessons. These workshops help our preschoolers grow their academic vocabulary and scientific investigation skills. Coach Javon Montgomery, a former preschool parent, provides our students with professional tennis lessons. Coach Jay has impressed us with his ability to organize, communicate, and effectively break down tennis skills with our young learners and keep them fully engaged. Tennis lessons are another way we build motor, perceptual, and social skills while exposing children to a sport that many have not played before. Whenever possible, we want to reinforce the idea that parents are a child's first and most important teacher. We encourage families to spend time in our classrooms, sharing their culture through books, cooking activities, and family treasures. We've had parents talk about Diwali and Black history, make tortillas, and one parent showed students clothing made with llama's wool from her home country of Peru. This parent works in construction and held the children in rapt attention by showing off the tools of his trade and demonstrating how he uses some of them. The students were inspired to do some measuring and building of their own after his visit. The visit was a perfect extension of our unit on community workers and augments our efforts to acknowledge the strengths that every parent brings to the education of their children. We have seasonal festivals that give parents another opportunity to spend time at the preschool. They collaborate with staff to plan and facilitate projects with our students. In the fall, all the preschool classrooms on site join together for autumn-themed activities. This year, we held our first winter festival at Latham Preschool, where a parent played the ukulele and another helped children to make mini piñatas. The children wore their pajamas, tried out some ice fishing, and enjoyed hot cocoa and story time at the end of their school day. Next slide. Some of our spring festival activities include exploring worm bins, making bird feeders, and group painting projects on the play yard. During our spring open house, we invite our students and their families to tour classrooms, view recent projects on display, and explore our learning centers by participating in typical preschool lessons. Teachers talk about and demonstrate the integrated nature of early education and the objectives of each activity. It gives parents a chance to learn more about our curriculum and our approach to developmentally appropriate, standards-aligned, playful learning. These parents are attending one of our classes on early literacy taught by members of the preschool staff. Staff share simple, age-appropriate materials and activities that can be used at home to build pre-reading and writing skills. We also work together with staff from the Santa Clara County Office of Education's Innovations Collaborative to provide monthly support groups for parents of children with disabilities or challenging behavior. When parents receive whole group and individual guidance with positive parenting strategies and tools to help their children at home. The Healthier Kids Foundation works with us to host a series of parent workshops on creating reasonable healthy habits and routines on sleep, nutrition, and discipline. We began our partnership, We began our partnership with Raising a Reader more than 2 decades ago. All of our classrooms have a set of red bags, each with a different selection of English and bilingual books. And every week, students take home a red bag to share with their families. To extend the literacy experience, we also send home journal pages, encouraging children to just draw something they liked about one of the books in the bag, and the parents are invited to write down their child's comments. Adding the journal pages has increased the level of family engagement and excitement our students have when taking home a Raising a Reader bag. Our family book cubby nights are our most well-attended events. They're held in both the fall and the spring with generous support of donated materials and enthusiastic volunteers from the Los Altos Rotary Club and the Mountain View Public Library. Parents, students, and siblings paint and decorate wooden book cubbies to create personalized private spaces for their family's collection of children's books, including the brand new books they get from participating in the event. The children's librarian, Maynard Martinez, reads to our families, and library staff signs families up for library cards. This year, our families also signed up for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, an organization that gives books to children free of charge from birth to age 5, and the books are sent directly to families' homes. As you may have noticed, we try to take advantage of any opportunity we can to encourage a passion for reading. In addition to sending home books with the Raising a Reader program and our family book cubby events last year, we celebrated the return of the Scholastic Book Fair to the preschool. Children were excited about all of the beautiful books that were curated specifically for their age group. It was a joy to watch them explore the collection and sit with their parents and read books together. It was such a success that we'll be doing the book fair again this spring with the support of our parent volunteers. At the end of every school year, we take our students on a field trip. We invite one parent for every child to go on the field trip with us. And each year, some of the classes go to the Happy Hollow Park and Zoo in San Jose. And others go to the Children's Discovery Museum. For most of our students, this is their first adventure on a school bus, their first time visiting these venues, and a memorable day of one-on-one time with a parent and the friends they've made at preschool. And here's our amazing team of diverse, hardworking, and dedicated early educators who are all very proud to be part of our pre-K through 8th school district. We have 30 staff members, many of whom are former preschool parents. They worked and went to college while raising their children to earn degrees in early childhood education. We fostered a culture of collaboration and continuous learning so we can provide our students with the well-educated and trained staff they deserve. This March marks my 30th year at the Mountain View School District working in the preschool program. It has truly been an honor to work alongside these dynamic women, growing our preschool program into what it is today. And in closing, I'd like to say how grateful our preschool team is for the opportunity tonight and on the board's visit tomorrow to our Latham site to highlight the strengths of our program and the benefits we provide to our students, their families, and our school district. I also want to acknowledge our preschool families, past and present. They are passionate and proud of their children and their community. They are generous in the ways that they show their appreciation for the work we do. And I'm incredibly humbled by their unwavering support. I have grown both personally and professionally, and I'm a better person for getting to know them, learn from them, and play a small role in building the foundation of future learning for their children. Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful presentation. Thank you. Trustees, any clarifying questions or brief comments for our presenter? No. I'll now open the floor. Oh, Trustee Reed.
I just wanted to say thank you for all the photos and the details. I have my own students, so I won't be able to be there tomorrow, but seeing all the photos and hearing about what's going on there, it sounds like amazing spaces and wonderful opportunities for students to learn.
All right. I'll now open the floor for public comment on the school showcase. Do we have any speaker cards for this item or remote speakers? Seeing one in person and any online? None online. I'll give you 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Nicole Data. we met before. I would like to speak on behalf. In terms of preschool, I am on my 4th year of sending my children to their preschool. And it's our last one because my youngest is going to go to kinder next year. But everything she said is true and more. They are an amazing staff. And I was really sad to see them on the list of things that could possibly have budget cuts. And I just want to say that that was 1/10 of all the amazing things they do. There's so much more that preschool gives. TK is amazing and does great things, but they fill a void that can't be filled otherwise, especially with the Castro community. And if anything gets impacted with them, it will have a trickle down. And I'm lucky enough to be able to see not only my own children's growth, but I see the kids from inside my son's classroom to then come to see me in kindergarten. And I get to see their growth from 3 years old to 5 years old to all the way up until they leave us. And I know that they make a huge impact, and she's amazing, and we're going to miss her so much. And thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you for your comment. Items back to the board for any final discussion or comments? Trustee Conley?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation, Director Kemper. And I just want to add my thanks for your 30 years of service to the children in our community, to helping them build a stable start as they enter our schools. I used to be a kindergarten teacher in this district as well, and I could tell where children came from in terms of preschool and how much access and opportunity they had. And I know that you and your team have been providing that for a very, very long time for our community. So thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of the board, thank you for sharing with us tonight. This was amazing. Okay, now traditionally we do a photo. Would we like to take a brief 5-minute recess to do a photo, and then we can move on to more technical business? All right, 5-minute recess. We will return at 6:27. Okay, we are back in session. Trustee Reed will be rejoining us in a moment. So now we are on to item 3 on the agenda. I'll open public comment for items on the closed session agenda. If any member of the public in person wish to address the board regarding this item, please turn in a speaker card. If you're online, please use the raise hand function. Please wait till you're called on, please. If you're online, please use the raise hand function. I'll wait to see how many speakers we have and allocate time accordingly. So I have one speaker card person, and let me check. Seeing no one online wishing to speak. All right, so we have one speaker. You'll each have 3 minutes. So first up is Stephen Nelson.
I guess the one and only again. Yes, it's always a privilege to have a closed session item that you get to make a comment on. In this case, it's a the superintendent's performance evaluation. I've already sent in a comment to you, and I don't know whether or not you're going to decide to read it, William Lampert, but that's your privilege to not pay attention to what I say. My frenemy. In the closed session, one of the things maybe Trustee Anna Reed can inform you on is the Cupertino administration also had a problem with their expenses and revenues. And they seem to, since December, or maybe it was November, early November, October, I went over to see one of their meetings and talk some of them. That administration seemed to get working lickety-split on their expense problem. And I don't think this district has. The administration was able to see things right away when they realized that there was a problem and talk to the board about it, about starting to reduce expenses in this budget year. Remember, your budget is adaptable. If an emergency comes up, you can spend more money. If you're starting to say there's going to be a fiscal emergency, the administration can start cutting down things, not filling things, letting you know in the next couple of meetings. I haven't seen this happen. There is some good things that the superintendent has done, particularly the strategic plan study. Amazing if you're actually going to bother reading it and taking it seriously. The missing thing is pupil services, boots on the ground at Castro. There's 12 weeks that were missing at the beginning, the end of last school year. He seems to, I don't know, be on vacation about that. Who's in charge? Is he responsible for seeing that those pupil services positions are filled? And if they're not filled, that he gets his cabinet and the people responsible cracking? That's something you should talk to him about. And I think he should be evaluated on. In that case, I think it's a negative. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. With no further public comment, the floor is now closed to public comment on the closed session agenda. We'll now recess to closed session, discuss the agendized items. Before we move to closed session, I wish to announce that I'm recusing myself from deliberation on items C and D due to a remote interest in the matter as defined under Government Code Section 1091. I will not be present during the board's consideration of this item and will not obtain or review any non-public information regarding this decision. right. All right, so the board has reconvened in open session at 7:46 PM. No reportable action was taken, and as noted, I, Trustee DeFazio, recused myself from items C and D and left the proceedings for that. Moving on, we now move to the consent agenda. These items are considered routine and will be acted on in one motion. Does any board member wish to remove an item for separate consideration? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Should
Oh.
we take comment
Public
first?
comment? Okay. I was going to take public comment on the motion, but I'll take public comment now. So this is items on consent agenda. If any member of the public wish to address the board regarding this item, turn in a speaker card. If you're online, use the raise hand function. I'll wait to see how many speakers we have and allocate time accordingly. So I have 2 in-person speakers for consent and none online. Okay, I'll give each speaker 3 minutes. I'll start with Ms. Chelik.
Hi. I'm wondering if the board can pull items C and H. C is about the change order justification regarding the PA system at Stevenson and clocks at Graham. And it talks about it being a change of scope, but the whole point of the project was to have a two-way communication system and to like fix that and to add 12 clocks for $21,000. I know it just seems like chump change, but it's not. It's the type of thing where we'd love to have a little bit of oversight, better oversight of Greystone, or who's making this change. The second point is regarding H, which is, from what I understand, considering Piper to look at refinancing the bond, if I'm saying that correctly, that was put out in 2020. It is got a cost of 0.35% of the issuing amount. And that's, a couple of $100,000. And from what I understand, the California Attorney General issued an opinion in 2022 saying that that cost cannot come out of the bond itself. So if you could please talk about that. And that means that we will coming out of the general fund. And I guess I want you all to be aware of it and talk about it with the public before just putting it on the consent agenda as saying it's something we want to move forward with, because that bond has caused a lot of headaches. I know you all don't agree with me but the first thing I saw out of that bond was my neighborhood school being fenced off. The second thing I saw out of that bond was staff housing, which I'm now paying for twice in my property taxes for MVWSD and my property taxes for the Foothill Community College. So I don't have a lot of good impressions with this, and I just want you to be careful in how you spend the community's money on little things like clocks and big things like the bond. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chelik. Next is, there's no name listed. It's the other speaker card.
Looks like the previous speaker covered a good amount on the details. I just have a overall comment. In light of all of the budget reductions that we're going to look at today, can we get more scrutiny on the contracts, right? One thing that I've also noticed was the, item H, right? The no direct cost to the district. And I know we've seen a lot of stuff that came at little or no cost to the district, and then we end up having to do change orders, or it ended up being a big cost to the district. So, over time, it just doesn't look great, and it doesn't seem like the staff knows what they're doing, and it makes the board looks bad. So if we could just get a little bit more scrutiny on some of the stuff that goes on consent agenda, especially the contracts, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, with no more, I'll close the floor to public comment on the consent agenda. Do I have a motion or any comments comments
Move
from
to
staff?
approve the agenda. I meant the consent agenda, the consent agenda, yes, is presented.
Is it possible to ask a question though without pulling the item? Because I had asked superintendent about the Piper and Sandler contract. I could also just say I'd like to pull it if that,
We can discuss. We're at discussion time. We don't have a motion that's,
don't normally, if it's better procedurally for me to just pull it to give them the opportunity to ask a question.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I will pull the Piper Sandler contract.
So we will pull item, which number is that on the consent agenda? H. H on the consent agenda. We'll consider that separately. So do we have a motion?
Just that contract of H.
So there's a motion to consider the consent agenda or to approve the consent agenda without item H and consider the item H separately. Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, in that case, we will vote on approving.
If I may, President,
Yes.
I'm looking at the Zoom online and I don't see the translation option on the Zoom right now. Oh, the online translation will be available at 8:30 p.m. Okay, thank you.
Right. Continuing, we will vote on approving the consent agenda. The motion by Trustee Lambert and seconded by Trustee Henry. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes unanimously with vote support of Trustee Lambert, Trustee Conley, Trustee Reed, Vice President Henry, and President DeFazio. Now, moving on to item H for discussion. Do we need to take public comments separately for this? No? Okay, then we will.
Would you mind, or either you or Dr. Westover mind explaining the finances involved in that transaction?
So this is in preparation for potentially refunding some of our outstanding bonds because interest rates have dropped. So this actually saves taxpayers money off of their tax bill. So this isn't in issuing any additional, it's refunding some of the ones. It's like refinancing your house to get a lower interest rate.
And that's saving us money, calculating in the fees that
That's correct.
come out of, and where do the fees come out of?
They come out of the savings that we attain by refinancing basically the bonds.
From a fund accounting, general fund or the building fund or?
The savings from the bonds. So it's not actually going to come out of the general fund. So we won't write Piper Sandler a check.
All right. Any other questions, comments, discussion? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the contracts in item H?
I move to approve item H on the consent agenda.
Second.
All right. Motion by Trustee Lambert, seconded by Trustee Reed. We'll take the vote. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously with support of Trustee Lambert, Trustee Conley, Trustee Reed, Vice President Henry, and President DeFazio. Now, so we are moving on to communications, I believe. Move to section 7 of the agenda, communications. First, invite representatives from our employee organizations to speak. Do we have someone? Oh, we do.
Sure, yeah.
Welcome.
How y'all doing? Good evening, President DeFazio, trustees, Superintendent Bear, and members of our community. My name is Mick Nguyen. I'm the president of MVEA, and I'm here representing the teachers of Mountain View Wisman School District. I appreciate the opportunity for letting me speak tonight. I want to begin by acknowledging how difficult budget decisions are. I know these conversations are difficult and complex, and I want to thank our Superintendent Jeff Bear for being so transparent from the beginning about how we got here, what our budget numbers are, and where we may find ourselves in the next few years. I know this has been the focus of our leadership, but my goal tonight is to ask for careful consideration and a broader scope of how these proposed cuts will impact students, families, and educators. First, Governor Newsom recently announced an increase in per pupil funding that will affect the upcoming school year. I would like to ask whether this increase is being fully taken into consideration as budget reductions are discussed. If schools are projected to receive more funding, it's important for a community to understand how that factors into the urgency and scale of the proposed cuts. One of our greatest concerns is the proposed elimination of preschool. At our site, we serve many working families, including our own teachers, who rely on preschool, not just for early learning, but also for childcare that allows them to be close to where they teach. This should be taken into careful consideration, as this may affect some of our most experienced and talented teachers we currently have in this district. We would hate to lose them due to the lack of exploring how the overarching impact will affect so many families. Our hope is that we can seek out state or federal funding that would help absorb the cost. Second, it was stated that the impact of these cuts on teachers would be minimal. However, the language in the Arenda report suggests that support staff positions, including SCEFs, ARISs, and IAs, would be reduced, with teachers absorbing those responsibilities. I want to be very clear about the reality on campuses. So many of us already routinely perform duties outside of our job description due to staffing shortages. Many teachers are working 60 to 70 hours a week just to meet our current responsibilities. There is simply no capacity to absorb more without compromising instruction, student support, or teacher well-being. If support positions are reduced, we strongly urge the district to make teacher roles and responsibilities explicit so expectations remain realistic and sustainable. We're also deeply concerned about proposals to cut either STEAM or physical education. Our concern is that teachers will not receive additional prep time if they're expected to take on these classes, meaning this would again shift workload without structural support. These programs are not extras. They're critical to students' physical, health, creativity, and engagement in school. We urge the board to focus on how these cuts will have a broader impact, not only on student achievement, but also teacher preparation time and balance to provide a robust education for our students. Another concern is transparency around district office reductions. It seems like the projected district office cuts still include TOSAs or instructional coaches, which creates the impression that deeper district office cuts are being made than may actually be the case. We would like the board to be mindful of the focus on this budgetary area and how this can be clearly communicated to the community. In closing, I urge the board to slow this process where possible, communicate clearly, and center decisions as far away from the classroom as possible. Let's make decisions on what best supports students, families, and educators in the long term. We all want a district that is financially responsible and educationally strong, and these goals do not have to be at odds. Thank you for your time and listening.
Thank you. Next, we will, please, I know we have a lot of passion. We can save the applause, and I thank you for the report. It was very, very good. Next, we have district committees. Are there any reports from district committees? I have a report from the Board Policy Committee. I will go next. So we have an update on our latest meeting. The Board Policy Committee met on January 14th, 2026. We reviewed and discussed 9 board policies. We've recommended 7 of them for approval, some with adjustments. They'll come for first reading at a future board meeting. 1 policy review required no changes, and while we continue to work on the remaining one. And we had our first public attendee of the Board Policy Committee meeting, and I encourage the public to come and comment. In addition, we learned that our new policy manual platform is live, which was very exciting. Probably not exciting for many other people, but it made my day that day. And then our next meeting is scheduled for February 11th, 2026. Thank you.
Could I have a comment on the board policies? I don't want to, we have a big agenda. I don't want to take a lot of time, but in the past, I think we've gotten into problems, not because we've had board policies, but because the board policies weren't followed. And what I'm specifically referring to is a lot of these board policies require the superintendent or his or her designee to do something. How are we, and we've been updating a lot of board policies. What are we doing to ensure that the superintendent or his designee is, adhering to these board policies and following through?
Yeah, so one of the, and I'll be brief on this because we have a lot of stuff on the agenda, but one of the things that we've been doing as a board policy committee as we are updating these and as we go through them is looking for places where we have mandatory reporting requirements and making sure that the information for the things that they are doing is coming back to the board for review at a regular basis. And so we've been working with staff to make sure all of those things that we are in policy requiring to happen are happening and that we are paying attention to them. So that is something that we are paying attention to review. And I think Trustee Henry may have.
I was just going to add that since the executive assistant is also part of those meetings, that she's been tracking those things to add them to the governance calendar so that those reports come back.
I think that's a really good idea. So because it helps make sure it's publicly accessible and that, the community can see that not only have the policies been put in place, but they're being enforced.
Yeah, and this is the value of having this dedicated body that can put in that time, and we can focus here on some of the core things that we need to discuss. Ultimately, the policies come back up to us to approve as a full board, but we're able to take that deep dive and be efficient. Division of labor, right?
And likewise, I believe that governance calendar that's being updated will be coming back to the whole board. It's not just something that the policy committee is handling.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, the next item is, oh, yes. Oh, I will take, let's see. Would communications as a whole can we have public comment on the full reports, do you think, anyone? Or should we do individual ones?
This is on.
These are, President DeFazio, these are separate agenda items.
Yes.
So I think
okay.
Taking public comment on the items is pertinent.
Then I will correct first I will take see if we have any public comment on the previous communications from the employee organizations. Do we have any public comment? Anyone who wishes to comment on communications for employee organizations? If you're in person, turn in a speaker card. Online, you can raise your hand. Is that for this item? Oh. Oh. We have one hand online. We will take the online comment. I will close the call for public comments on this item, on that part of the item. And we will see. Noon Liu, you have 3 minutes.
This is for the communication item, correct?
For employee organizations communications.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you for pointing out the facts of how like TOSAs included in the district office cut, which kind of make the district office cut a lot bigger than it looks, even though the TOSAs are actually people at the school side that are also student facing. And so I haven't, like, I was looking at the report and I just haven't seen that kind of details of like the deal cut. So I hope that, in future discussion, there is, more clarity and better data provided for us. Just show us the data, please. And then I agree with, Mr. Mick talking about, how just like cutting steam and all these things, it will impact the students. Because that dedicated support isn't gonna be provided, it's not equal across the whole school if you put that job on the teacher instead of like specific STEAM teacher. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now open the floor for public, or close the floor for public comment on this, and then we'll move on to the district committee's public comment. Do we have any members of the public wishing to speak in person? Please turn in a speaker card. If you are remote, please raise your hand, and then I will allocate time accordingly.
I have no speaker card.
We have one in person. Do we have anyone online? Let me check. Nope, no one online. Please go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. This is on your comment about the issue of board policy, whether it's actually works or not. And particularly, it has to do with William Lampert's comment on there's 960 something references to the superintendent or a designee. Now, you may not remember this, but I brought this up before because I asked my eldest son to write a Python script to actually run through all of those board policies and administrative regulations and count up how much that thing did. It's over 900. I don't believe that there's been nothing that the superintendent has designated to somebody, but there is no record of who's been designated what. Who is responsible? Can you tell me, Devin? I don't think so. So that's a defect. I'm really glad William Lampert brought it up and how this organization runs things. There's no document, single document says, oh, this board policy, the superintendent has designated it to this person, or this office would be even better. Then you know, or office and person. So if the person changes, the office does, you still know who it is. I think it could be kept as a separate document, but you have no responsibility if you said the superintendent or a designee is responsible for doing this. And nobody has a clue what's been designated.
Thank you. Now, superintendent, your superintendent's report.
Yes, good evening. Couple of items. Last week, the board received the report from Miranda Education, which provided clear, actionable information to help us focus our time and resources where they matter most for students. The report affirms many areas where our programs are working well and also highlights opportunities where thoughtful adjustments can make the greatest impact for students. We are already deep in reflection and analysis of the recommendations, and we're developing both midterm and longer term plans to strengthen our student outcomes in the school district. So thanks for your trust as we move forward in this important work. A brief update, staffing update. Focused on supporting continuity for students and leveraging the expertise of our staff and our district resources. Ms. Santha Contreras will be resigning her role as principal at Vargas Elementary effective January 20 due to family needs she has at home. She'll remain with us, returning to special education teaching. And that's work that's always been close to her heart. And we're grateful for her flexibility, dedication, and continued commitment to our students. We also appreciate Ms. Swati Dagger, who will be serving as interim principal at Vargas for the remainder of the school year. As our director of student services and a former principal at Therkoff, she brings deep experience and a steady leadership presence to support a smooth transition for the school community. In addition to that, Ms. Karen Jinbo will be expanding her role to oversee both health and wellness and student services. With her background in student support, services, special education, and wellness, she's well positioned to support student staff as we move forward with these changes. So thanks to all of them for their work. And finally, I'd like to recognize that this month is School Board Member Appreciation Month. We're deeply grateful for you, our board members, for the many hours you volunteer and the thoughtful leadership you provide, especially during trying times like this. Your work's not easy, but it's always grounded in what's best for one thing, and that's our students. We sincerely thank you for your service and steady guidance. And that's it.
Thank you for the report. Do we have any questions from trustees? All right, now I'll move on to public comment for the superintendent's report. Speaker card in person, online raise hand. I'll be brief and not repeat myself that much. So I'll call to see how many we have. None in person. Anyone online? Don't see anybody. With that, nope. We have one hand up online. I'll close the call for public comments now. Ms. Liu, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you for the report. I just have a quick clarifying question. When people move roles from one role to another one with different responsibility, does the salary changes or do they stay, do they keep the current salary they're at taking on a different role? I'm not sure if that's something that can be shared, but figure I ask. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Now, we will, at this time, we open the floor for community comments on items not appearing on tonight's agenda. Please remember that the Brown Act prohibits the board from discussing or taking action on any item not listed on the posted agenda. Trustees or staff may briefly respond to clarify facts, or we may direct the superintendent to agendize the matter for a future meeting. I believe we have listed on the agenda 10 minutes total for community comments, if I recall correctly. I think I'll allocate time after seeing how many speakers we have. I'll also remind you again from the beginning, well, to please abide by our decorum and board bylaws for public comment. Thank you. Let's see. I have speaker cards here. Any further ones that came in? And then how many online do we have? 2 online. I will, oh, just one now. Oh, and I see 3 now. I have 3 in person and 3 online. I'm going to close it. So the 3, oh, you need a card? Okay. 4 in person. 3 online. I'm closing the call online and I'm waiting for the last card in person. So we have 7 total speakers. I will cross-reference this with my table. Thank you. One moment. I think 90. Seven speakers total, correct? So that will be 2 minutes per person. We will start there. Okay, I will start with in-person comments.
Thank you. I'll get this going really quick.
Wait till you're called on, please.
Oh,
I
pardon?
have not called the speaker up yet.
Oh, I thought you did.
No, not a specific
Oh, I
speaker.
may not
Please
be in the
wait.
membership.
I will start with the blank card that says, I'm not sure who that is. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, and thanks, board, for all you do. We all do appreciate the hard work that you put in, and I know tonight's going to be a late one, so I'll try to keep it brief. There was a question about what happens with roles, and I spoke with Superintendent Bear today about an assistant superintendent that was moved down to director, and that salary remained at the assistant superintendent salary level. I think that this is really important to consider when we are being told that higher level positions are being cut. If those persons move to lower level positions and keep their salary, then the impact on the budget is not as significant as one might think. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll remind all speakers, address the board, please. They appreciate all the feedback, but we're here to listen. So next, Stephen Nelson.
Thanks. 2 minutes is enough. I want to talk about 3 points. One, I hope the board itself studies the study that the superintendent was talking about. I think you need another study session. It's very deep. The public did not get a copy before you got copies here. I don't know if the board got digital copies, but the public was also supposed to get a copy at the same time. I think you also need to evaluate the Ed Services head. Third thing is consider a buyout of the assistant superintendent. The strategic plan system study itself is full of new ways of looking at us, particularly the 2027 strategic plan. That document was meant to be dynamic. You've heard somebody say it was sort of set in stone and we shouldn't figure out, you can change it in the middle of a year, start to change it. Don't wait. Two, your head of educational services clearly needs a performance evaluation, closed session by the board. I will be asking for that under the Brown Act clause that allows a member of the public to put something on the public agenda, but it'll be closed session. And three, consider a buyout of our assistant superintendent who has reemployment rights, and I think was a great elementary school principal. I think if you look at the weak program design coverage of this and the weak system alignments, what can be done? Align written, taught, and tested curriculum in ELA and math. That's what hasn't been done for the last 5 years. You have the analysis. There's a person responsible that should be reassigned, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Next card is Ling.
I had prepared a presentation to show and I sent it to Shelley. Are we able to do that or? No, I know we said board policy doesn't, but I know the city allows this, so.
I don't respond briefly to clarify. We don't have an existing protocol for having presentations, but
Okay,
you have printouts and we will attach them to the minutes of
Okay.
this if
so
you.
maybe we can do that in the future, but I will just pass this for the board. And then I'll give this to the folks in the room if you want to pass it around. So specifically, I want to make a comment to well, first, I want to say that I appreciate the hard work that the district is doing and Superintendent Bayer's leadership. With regards to the RINDA report on page 19, it breaks down academic performance by race and ethnicity. I have a real problem with this because when we attribute achievement by our immutable characteristics, it perpetuates stereotypes. And it devalues the hard work that achievement requires. There are other options, like we can use parent education levels or zip code to look at this. And one of the things on my sheet, I have a QR code with regards to this, but I don't know if folks have heard about how Mississippi transformed its schools from one of the worst state performances in the nation to one of the best. But you know, adjusted for demographics, Mississippi is now the #1 for 4th grade reading and math. And they were able to do this without increasing their costs. So if you guys want to take a look, you can see what happened there.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Ms. Chelik. 2 minutes.
Hi. Today, later on, I know we're going to talk about budget cuts, but I just want to remind everybody here, all of us, what is our #1 responsibility as a school district, as a community of people who are interested in the education of our children? It is to teach our children to read. We need a community of educated people. Everybody has a civil right to learn how to read. So my first question, and I would appreciate if anybody in the audience would help me a lot with
Please
this.
address the board.
It is this. How many of you have the Libby app either on your phone or your computer or your tablet? Could you raise your hands? How many of you know what the Libby app is? So the Libby app is a free app that's available from all the California libraries. It has access to visual books and audiobooks. So anybody can go and listen to books for free in English, in Spanish, and other languages too. Why are audiobooks important? When we talk about the science of reading, which I know all of you have heard is a big buzzword, many of you think about phonics, Norton Gillingham, and doing fundamental instruction of young children to be able to learn sounds and how they connect to meanings. What comes in parallel with that and after that, do any of you know, is you have to gain a base of knowledge. That knowledge can be in English and Spanish and any other language. You have to gain the vocabulary, you have to gain the knowledge. So if you teach a child how to set up a Libby account and access audiobooks, it is free. And you can listen to hundreds of books for free. and get the knowledge and the vocabulary so that when you learn the skills in phonics to do the visual reading, you already have a common base of knowledge so that you can understand, for example, what a
Thank you.
main idea is.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
I have to be fair to everyone and give everyone the same amount of time. Thank you for your comment. And if you have further comments, you can send us over email. We read all of these as well. Next, we'll go to online comments. I only see 2 hands now. Okay, so I will take the 2 that are here. Jeanette, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you for presenting the information. I want to mention that there is unfortunately no translation for the parents in Spanish. They're having difficulty following through with the meeting. They are trying, and they're here to advocate for their students, and unfortunately, they're not able to follow through. So I will appreciate if that could be addressed. Thank you.
As a clarification, I believe we will have translation at 8:30, and I will not start the agenda items for any of the later things until we have translation available. Thank you. Next comment is Thurkoff parent. You have 2 minutes.
Hi, I am here to talk to you. Good evening. I want to return to the Arinda report. Because if this is the standard being used to justify major staffing changes, we need deeper analysis before making decisions we may not be able to reverse. The Arinda representative said he did not know what our substitute situation looks like. Yet absences, long-term leaves, inconsistent coverage are daily realities that directly affect learning and behavior. It's not a critique of our teachers, it's the reality of any job. It happens. Teachers are absent. So I'm asking the district to help me answer the following questions in the future. Does MVWSD track how often classrooms lack substitute coverage and are split among other classes? And is that analyzed by school and grade level when considering impacts on student performance? How does the district account for extended long-term substitute coverage when analyzing assessment data, now being used to drive budget and staffing decisions? At one site, a first grade teacher did not return for the remainder of the year. Students moved from multiple substitutes until the STEAM teacher stepped in. Stability returned because of a site coach. SCEF Aries provided consistent adult support. This raises another question. When students are not meeting standards, how does the district distinguish between gaps caused by instructional disruption versus curriculum or program effectiveness? Arinda also criticized top-level program decisions, not the dedication of the site staff. In fact, he consistently said he saw people working really hard. So why are we focusing on site level staff so much? And maybe we should think about the high level district positions and consider maybe 5–10% decrease of salary temporarily to address the budget. Thanks.
Thank you, Thurkoff parent. With that, I'll suggest that before we start the discussion and action section, that we recess until translation is available. It should be a few minutes, but 8:30 is our estimate. Okay, is that all? All right, please come to order. The translation is available now, so I'll give people a moment to settle in. Translation is coming online right now. We will give people time to find their seats and settle in. Experiencing some technical difficulties, so we will continue until translation is available. Thank you.
President DeFazio, one option might be to pull forward some later items that are not action and discussion that we could get through while we wait for the translation to come on board.
Do we have a motion to move anything forward? I'm open to proposals.
I could make a motion to move B, board committee appointments forward.
Should we go
That
through
discussion?
committee appointments before we?
So I make a motion to move item 9B, item 10, item 11, and item 12 forward pending the arrival of translation, so that when translation arrives, we will stop those. They will go back to where they originally were.
Do I have a second to move 9B, 10, and 11
and
12 up to now? And when translation is available, we will table those and revisit them afterwards.
Second.
All right. Motion by Trustee Conley, seconded by Trustee Reed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right. Motion passes unanimously with Trustees Lambert, Conley, Reed, and Henry and DeFazio in favor. So we will take on item 9B now, which is board committee appointments. Superintendent Baer to present the staff report.
Yes, so as a result of the organizational meeting, it took place in December. Annually, committee appointments by trustees are decided upon. That has been discussed, and the current list is here for your consideration and discussion.
Thank you for the report. Any clarifying questions from the board? Okay, now I will open public comment on item 9B. If any member of the public in person wishes to address the board regarding this item, please turn in a speaker card. And if you're online, use the raise hand function. I'll wait to see how many speakers we have and then allocate time accordingly. Seeing no one in person and no one online wishing to speak on this item, I will come back to the board for discussion.
I make a motion to approve the board committee appointments as presented.
I second.
Motion by trustee Conley and seconded by trustee Lambert to approve the committee assignments as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Trustees Lambert, Conley, Reed, Henry, and DeFazio in favor. Next up, we will visit board updates. At this, right? Is that correct? The next one? Yes. Okay. At this time, would any member of the board like to provide updates since the last meeting?
I'll provide a very quick update, which is that the California School Boards Association Board of Directors meeting will be at the end of the month. And so if there are advocacy issues that the public or members of our board would like to make sure I take with me when I go, please do reach out.
Any further updates? I'll open public comment on this item. Would anyone in person like to speak or online? Raise your hand. In person, drop off a speaker card. I'll wait a moment to allow folks to, seeing no one wishing to speak on this, we'll move on. I'll close public comment and now we'll move on to the next item. This was item 11, items for future agendas. Trustees, you can propose topics for full discussion in a future meeting or anything that's coming up.
It sounds like the governance calendar is going to be coming back to us soon with some updates.
Yes, reformatted with some updates.
Wonderful. And I assume we'll be having our board retreat scheduled and that might be the appropriate time to discuss that.
Sounds reasonable. Any other? All right. With that, take public comment on this item. In person, turn in a speaker card. You are online, raise hand. And I'll wait a moment for folks to seeing no one in person wishing to speak on this item, and no one online. I will close public comment for this. Our next item is future board meeting dates, I believe. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for January 29th, 2026. Additional upcoming meetings include February 12th, March 5th, 2026, and March 19th, 2026. Is there any public, or do we have any discussion from trustees? I'll open a public comment for this item. Is there any public comment on this item? If you're in person, drop off a speaker card. If you're online, use the raise hand function. Seeing no one wishing to speak on this, I'll close public comment. I think we'll return to the original agenda. Should we can recess or we can take another item out of turn if we would like. Do I have any suggestions?
I don't know if trustees would be amenable to moving item 9C forward.
I think I can discuss item 9C. Do we have
Is there a second?
a motion?
Second.
All right. All in favor of taking up item C?
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Trustees Lambert, Conley, Reed, Henry, and DeFazio in favor. Now move to discussion and action item 9C, Coast to Coast Federal Advocacy Trip. Superintendent Bear.
Yes, the board asked for this to be brought back for discussion, consideration of sending a representative to the CSBA and ACTS of Fifth Annual Coast to Coast trip. So bring it back here for your consideration. There's some detail, there's some variety of ways to fund it, from the district contributing zero and just sending a representative to fully funding it. So I leave it for the board's discussion.
Thank you. Do we have any clarifying questions from the board?
Not really a question, um, President DeFazio, but I think the last time we discussed this, it is sort of a question, actually. The last time we discussed this, we were trying to figure out who might be even available to go. And so I think that's pertinent. Who is available to go before we even discuss funding options? Myself, I am not able to go. I had hoped to be able to go. Unfortunately, we have had multiple family members pass since January 1st, and we have several family members who are having significant health impacts. So I am having to travel a lot already, and I will not be able to make this trip. But I do hope that someone on our board is available to represent our district.
Okay. I don't think we can poll everyone for their dates until we get to discussion, but it's a valid question. Next, I will move to public comment, or any other further questions from trustees? Okay, now we'll move to public comment on this issue. Item 9C, coast-to-coast trips. If a member of the public in person wishes to address the board, please turn in a speaker card. If you're online, please use the raise hand function. I'll wait to see how many speakers we have and then allocate time accordingly. I see 3, and this, including this one, 3 in person and 1 online. I'll close the call for public comment. We do have a card from Mr. Nelson. We will start with in person, and I'm closing the call for public comment. So I have 1 online, 3 in person. That's 4 members of the public, which will give you 3 minutes per person. I'll start with the blank card. You're not required to put your name here, but it's helpful for us to identify who is speaking when they for the minutes. You may go.
Thank you. Yes, I just want to comment that we have a lot of hard work to do here and locally, and we have representatives that are available locally. We would like our school budget to be saved for, educational purposes. I understand that we are almost out of board budget at this point. I would say, please write your representatives and stay home. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next is Ling. You have 3 minutes when you get to the podium.
I won't need 3 minutes. Okay, these conferences, feels like discretionary spending at this moment, given that we're looking at budget reductions from the entire district, right? Just doesn't feel like it's a good look at the moment. And, in the past, we funded conferences for the board members, and given what's happened in the past, I'm not sure how useful, or in terms of when you look at the results of going to those conferences, that has really helped us. So let's stick to, hang out with our local resources, right? And see if we can, that would be how I would feel about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ling. Next is Stephen Nelson. Stephen Nelson, you have 3 minutes.
Oh, me? Yeah, I think this is a real dumb idea. If you guys approve this, it's like you weren't listening to everything that was happening in 2024. It's the idea that we're going to send people to conferences for advocacy. We already had Dr. Rudolph go set up using his PR Wall Street firm, not Wall Street, K Street advocacy firm, to talk to the offices of 3 congresspeople. Well, one of them wasn't even there. So this idea that you have to go to Washington to talk to congresspeople, there are 5 or 6 congresspeople that are within driving distance of here that you have access to their offices. So I don't care if this costs $2,000 or $3,000, you send 1 person or 2 people. It is unnecessary for the primary responsibility of this board. And there isn't anything, does somebody want to point to me? He was the superintendent when you were president, Conley. Point to me one thing that $4,000 or $5,000 trip that he took to Washington to stay in a five-star hotel. And I know you guys have learned that lesson. What did it do for the learning of our particular kids? This money would be much better spent. It's general fund money on tutors for Castro kids, tutors for any other kid that is disadvantaged and 1 to 2 years behind in reading and math. I don't care what it is. Your job is not to increase the national leadership value of people on this administration or this staff. So don't spend the money. This is going to be an issue in the next election, whatever you're running for, that you're spending money like this that you could spend instead on students. It's general fund money. It doesn't come from magic. If somebody wants to go and pay for it themselves, there isn't an issue. You don't have to vote on it. So that's why I don't think you should have even brought this up, taken this up. So I urge you to just leave it. If there's no motion, it dies. Or if Conley makes a motion, it dies from a second. Whoever makes the motion first to spend how much money, or is this a blank check? Because it wasn't really clear in the cover sheet how much you're allowing this up to. Thank you. And please make a good decision for the students here.
Thank you for your comment. Now return to the board for discussion. So, Trustee Lambert.
I will not be attending this conference.
I'm happy to speak more about what actually happens at Coast to Coast and why I'm encouraging the board, whether we put money behind it or not, we do actually need to vote on having a representative. If we want to send someone, we need to vote on that. Otherwise, they can't speak on behalf of our board in that position when they're there. And I know this because another school district, if you followed last year, ran into this very issue. Somebody ended up getting private funding, but did not have the voted support of their district, and that impacted how things played out.
Yeah, I think just to jump in, right? Like anything that we are expecting someone to represent the district in an official capacity, I think we should together be voting on that, even if it is of no cost to the district, right? It is important for us to have discussions about the things that we want, that we think are valuable. I'm not interested in spending money on this, but I do think we would need to, if we want to send someone to this and they can make it, it would be appropriate and reasonable for us to vote on that as a board. So that is representing the will of this body, right? I think that's one thing that I think is really important, right? So I appreciate having this discussion. I think it's useful and it's worth discussing. Thanks.
And so to speak a little bit more to what this is, so the California School Boards Association used to be a member of the National School Boards Association, and the National School Boards Association would advocate around federal policy. The California School Boards Association left the National School Boards Association a few years ago, as did many state associations. And it's really up to California to represent itself at the federal level.
I'll interrupt you 1 minute because I
Yes.
made a mistake for public comment. I did not call on the
online speaker.
I'm
Yes, go ahead.
sorry, Ms. Liu, you'll have 3 minutes. I apologize.
Thank you. Sounds like a common trend. I'm keep on getting forgotten. It's okay. So yes, I agree with all the people in person. This is not a good idea considering that we have 15,000 for the full year board development budget, and there's only 1,100 left. And just the cost of it is almost all of it. And then room is like 349 and fees and whatever. And then for 3 nights and then airfare, that's like $3,000 to $4,000 trip. You know, there's food, there's drinks, whatever it is, car rental, I don't know. So considering that we're going through budget cuts and we're talking about, you know, teachers losing their jobs, I think it looks really, really bad if the board decide to do this. And you know, like this money can, if you divide this by $27 per hour, which is what on the job posting for, beyond the bell tutoring for kids, that's 107 hours that they can serve kids. That's like a whole month worth of tutoring for kids. So just want to put that in perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll return to Trustee Conley.
Sure. So the purpose of the event is to actually advocate as a state at the national level. And we saw some impacts. Yes, we can all go visit our representatives locally. That is something that is available to us. Showing up with several hundred people at the Capitol and speaking with our representatives there is impactful. We're showing up where they work. We're showing up in mass. We're having a united voice. I don't think I have to speak to our union organizers here about why that's important. And the things that we're looking at the federal level right now that will impact not just our district, but, I know we don't get as much, let's say Title I funding as some of our neighboring districts, for example. That doesn't mean I don't think we should be advocating for all of the children in our community and in our county because we're all connected. We access the same healthcare system. We access the same housing systems. It is worthwhile to advocate on behalf of all of the students here in California, even if comparatively our district is more privileged. Things that are directly impacting or could directly impact our district include cuts to Medi-Cal. Our district is just now seeking Medi-Cal reimbursements for mental health services for students. There's proposed cuts to Title I. That has been cut back. We do get some Title I funding. There are cuts to the E-rate program, which is done by the FCC. E-rate helps us fund our broadband program, which provides broadband for our low-income families. And the impacts on our immigrant community of current federal policy and action, I think, is quite pertinent to our school district. And it's important for us to raise our voices about that as well. So regardless of whether or not there's only $1,100 left in the board development budget. I'm agnostic about whether or not we should pay for this, but if someone is willing and able to go, I think we should approve them going as a body to represent us. And I will also say one of the challenges is that districts across California are also very different. And so there has been a stronger and stronger voice of trustees going on this trip, especially last year, from California to advocate at the federal level who did not represent the values of our school district. And so if we are not there having a voice, it undermines equity in our state, it undermines equity in our region and in our community. So that's why I think it's important, but it also means that somebody has to be able to go.
Any further discussion from other trustees? Trustee Henry?
I'll say in general, I value advocacy. I do know that from experience in other areas that you can't just assume that your representatives, even when they're generally going to be on your side, that they know what the issues are that are at top of mind. In general, I think in a regular year where we weren't also having a budget discussion tonight, if someone were available to go this year, I would be supportive of voting to have that person be authorized to represent us. I wouldn't be tonight supportive of funding the trip. In a regular year, I'd be more open to that conversation. So if someone's available, I'm supportive of having that person represent us. Just given the rest of the discussion, I don't think tonight's the night to, this is the year to pay for the trip. But if somebody wants to go, I personally can't go.
Trustee Reed?
I echo those sentiments. If somebody wants to go and fund themselves, great. I will not be attending.
Yeah, I would love to go. I don't think I can make it. So I think we are, but I think it is valuable still for us to have this conversation because it is important. I think expressing the sense of us not wanting to fund this, like, I don't think there's an appetite to use money right now for that type of thing. And I think generally, but I do want us to get into a habit of making sure that if we are sending someone on a trip somewhere and they are representing us as a board, that we actually discuss this as a body and make sure that we have that full support of the board. I do not want people claiming to speak for the district without us discussing that as a body. So.
I agree. And if I may, if anyone's circumstances change, I think we can all agree we don't want to fund this right now. But if anyone's circumstances change and they are available to go, I would like to vote as a board to send them. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable making a motion that if someone is able to go that we don't know of right now, but if circumstances change, I would support them representing our district, but not in terms of funding.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we would structure that. As
Maybe we bring it,
motion.
we just bring it back if it
as
comes up.
another agenda item. I think if someone's circumstances change, we can agendize it on a meeting and then we'll have the discussion, but go through that. All right, thank you. We have an update on our translation.
So yeah, the translation portion of Zoom is not loading. So what we need to do is recess the meeting, restart Zoom, see if the translation portion comes back up.
Okay.
If it doesn't come back up, we need to figure that out. I don't think we can, I wouldn't recommend moving forward on this next discussion without translation services available. So we would need to reschedule at that point this meeting.
Okay.
I would suggest Tuesday.
Okay, we will take a brief recess. How long do you think we would need? 10-minute recess.
Was there a
Hold on. Sorry, I got jumpy.
There's no motion.
was not a motion?
No, it died.
Okay, I thought there was. I couldn't
Not
hear you.
yet. Oh, are we technical difficulties now? All right, we are adjourned at, or recess for not adjourn. Recess at 9.